it will provide a lot of protection from severe symptoms and hospitalization and death. The only other thing I wanted to add here is pediatric cases. We produce something every week called the COVID-19 Health Equity Brief for Flint and Genesee County. We are going to start tracking the pediatric cases. I'm on the governor's task force for COVID, and we got a presentation about pediatric cases. Pediatric cases in Michigan are on the rise, and these are the cases we know about. Michigan last week averaged 450 pediatric COVID cases per day last week. 450 pediatric cases. And I'm hearing more and more in the community about pediatric cases. And sometimes they are even asymptomatic, but they are then infecting the adults in their household. So I'm also encouraging parents, for your children that are vaccine eligible, get them vaccinated. And if your children are also out constantly, if your kids are going to school every day, consider some kind of testing protocol for your children also. Just because kids don't have symptoms doesn't mean that they can't contract COVID, and it doesn't mean that they can't infect others. I've seen 2 cases last week where an asymptomatic pediatric case caused a family outbreak, and other members of the family have become severely ill from an asymptomatic pediatric case. So let us remember we got to protect our children and also make sure that we protect our families, because pediatric cases are on the rise as well.
Well, we talk about those things, and it's very important that we do that. But definitely we want to go back and circle back around to that and what we need to do, especially with the Halloween holiday coming up. But today we want to make sure that we recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month. There's a walk going on right now. It started at the Flat Lot, downtown Flint, the Breast Cancer Walk. It started at 9 a.m. this morning. We want to make sure that we support those that's engaged in the fight against breast cancer, and also those who may be affected by this deadly disease. And so we want to recognize that as well. But we definitely want to talk about this as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Also, those who are going through the challenges of domestic violence, we want to encourage you to get the help that you need, and that there is support out here in the city of Flint and other places. We want to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's one of the most debilitating acts of violence that you can ever have, is where the person that says they love you is abusing you. So we encourage you to seek out the help in which you need. But also, our ward-to-ward meetings will begin and start in a couple of weeks after we have secured our compliancy coordinator inside the city of Flint. Many have been talking about these American Rescue Plan dollars, and how they have arrived in the city of Flint and other places across the country, and how these dollars can be executed upon for the empowerment of communities. The thing about what is going on here, Flint has been blessed with the opportunity to have $94 million. The first $47 million has arrived. We will make sure that every one of those dollars, and as an elected official, I guarantee those dollars will not miss its mark. It will be going for the benefit of the people. Things have to be put in place, and we want to make sure we take all the necessary information, making sure we execute those dollars, these one-time dollars, for the empowerment of our communities. The state of Michigan has received some of these dollars as well. But before we engage that, we're going to go back with our ward-to-ward meetings, having a dialogue with community members once again about these. We have had town hall meetings talking about how we're going to be using these dollars, how we can execute and best use these dollars and put them in place for the betterment of this community. Now, more than $1 billion has come through the region of the city of Flint and over the last 7 years for our water crisis, but you do not see it recognized in the community. Those dollars missed their mark in many, many occasions. It won't happen with these American Rescue Plan. We will not haphazardly deploy these dollars before we know what we're going to do and how it's going to have an impact in our community. But on the line now, I have a special guest, a friend of mine from our sister city in Saginaw, Mayor Moore. Good morning, Mayor Moore. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. How's everyone doing?
We're blessed and so happy that you delayed your schedule with your, and you are one that knows how busy it is and how our time is always requested when we're mayors. And I want to thank you personally for taking time to be on the radio broadcast with us this morning. And so, Mayor Moore, there's been a lot of misinformation out there. One of the things that we have to battle is misinformation, and how misinformation is used for political or personal agendas to derail certain things in the progression of our community. You and I both have been battling with violent crimes in our community, and we've been doing many things, but we also understand the power of prayer as we engage the battle. But the American Rescue Plan, Saginaw was also blessed with some American Rescue Plan dollars, but there's no place inside the state of Michigan who's actually executed upon these dollars beyond the city of Detroit that may be on the fringes of starting to deploy their dollars. But here in the city of Flint, misinformation has been disseminated that these dollars are being used all over the place, and that we're slow about it. Have you started engaging in the deployment of your American Rescue Plan dollars in Saginaw?
No, we have not. We had a strategic plan early, like mid-September, where we brought the community in to help us to decide on what to do. We actually will begin our community-based stuff on November the 5th at our city hall. I'm sorry, November the 2nd. We've got 2 days. We'll be there November the 2nd from 10 in the morning till 8 at night. And then we'll also be.
I think I lost her just now. We'll try to retrieve her on another line. But as you heard her say, that even Saginaw has not started deploying their dollars, and so we're in the mix, and we're doing the same with our ward-to-ward meetings. That's going to resurrect the activity in a couple weeks here, and so when we do that, and we have a compliancy contract out for a compliancy coordinator, because these are federal dollars, and we have to account for how these dollars are going to be spent. If we spend these dollars in a poor or a not qualified manner, Brenda, Mayor Moore, here you go. I'll put you back on speaker. You can finish your statement.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
We're getting ready to start our discussions. We have not spent any money. Just like Flint, there's a different Saginaw, and we spent the money and it's all gone. We have not begun to spend any money. We are going to work with the community if they allow us to. And we're going to try to come up with some plans to spend the money to where we can best serve our city.
Right. And it's and I want to always, reiterate what really happens out here in the community, because we have a lot of people with different types of agendas. Those that always try to pick the pockets of the poor, or the paying poverty in a pandemic. People try to monetize people's suffering and pain. And we're not short of that type of activity across the state of Michigan, but I can guarantee people that these dollars will be going for the execution of more empowerment for our residents. And so we have created the 5 buckets based upon the first few town halls that we've had here. And those things have been disseminated out to the public, and we're going to be re-engaging the public with our compliancy coordinator, making sure that we are operating in the best fashion, that these dollars have been engaged, and we will not violate any rules. And so, Mayor Moore, a few weeks ago, I came down and attended a prayer vigil with you after you attended a program here inside the city of Flint talking about reemerging citizens. You was with me here in Flint on Saturday, and I was there with you in Saginaw on Sunday. That was a magnificent event. So you want to talk a little bit about our partnerships around the element of trying to curb violence?
In Saginaw, I declared prayer as a form of coming together. And so the crime is high, but like my grandbaby says, however, if we begin to work together, we all can make a difference. Now, we've talked about it several times, not only in Flint, but we've been talking about going down the whole quarter of 75, reaching out, because the ARPA dollars, we will get a more broader spend for our money if we engage our sister cities. And so we are doing, probably like you guys, we're doing prayer vigils, and we're doing group networking. Parents have got together, and the citizens, I reinforce this all the time. We got to come and take our cities back. Somewhere down the line, we all dropped the ball, and so now we all have to pay the price. So what we're doing is we're just trying to work in the community to do whatever we can to to make it better so that we can move forward.
Yeah, and our system of government is a little bit different from one another. We have a strong mayor form of government here in the city of Flint, and you have a weak form of mayor government, be it that you have a council, and then the council, you sit on the city council as the lead and as mayor. Here we have two branches of government, and it's been challenging in some aspects of making sure that good information gets out to residents, but we will continue to push that through. And I thank you so much. And I'm going to, allow you to get to your meeting. I want to thank you for taking time out to help express some elements of what the truth really is about these opera dollars and how they're being executed upon by other municipalities throughout the state of Michigan. And it's always sometimes better coming from a stakeholder in a different city, leading that community, telling people exactly what is going on. So we won't be left in a vacuum with sometimes battling bad information every day. So I thank you, Mayor Moore, Saginaw, and we will definitely stand in prayer together and be with one another. And thank you and God bless.
Okay, I thank you so much for having me, Mayor. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And so as we look at that, we have some other challenges on the horizon. When we have confusion, and I've often said, if you know who benefits from you being divided, you understand your true enemy. Our community is being divided as we speak, with the element of redistricting, diluting the African-American population and voting power throughout the state of Michigan and throughout our country. Detroit is battling this, as well as the city of Flint, how they dilute the population. Right now, the proposed drawing of the lines is dividing the city of Flint in half, meaning dividing the strength of a Black population in half, putting us into different districts, making a minority vote the minority vote in that particular area. We have an important date that people need to know coming up October 26th at the Dort Federal Arena. You can go there to express your discontent for diluting the voting power, especially in communities of color. Detroit has been rallying behind this, but also this is a violation of the 1968 Voting Rights Act. And this is a violation of law if they go forth. So it's Tuesday, October 26th at the Dort Financial Center from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Also at 5 p.m. until 8. You have to register a day before to be able to be heard. You have 1 minute to be able to express your feelings about the proposed maps that's being drawn. We have to engage this process, and we definitely have to really fight for the right to be able to continue to express our voting power. If they continue to dilute this, we will be a super minority in the society, and we cannot afford to do that. We have Dr. Reynolds, and Dr. Reynolds, I'm going to use you in a different capacity this morning as it relates to a person who's seen a lot going through the voting rights fight in 1960s, the late 60s and the 70s. What do you have an opinion about what is going on with these maps and the way that they're proposing the cutting of maps across the state of Michigan and minority communities?
What has been of concern to me is the way the effect on Black communities, predominantly Black voting districts, has been obscured by the multitude of maps. And it hasn't been until last week that I started hearing clear messages that districts that are minority predominant, be they Black or brown, are being divided. So they're as low as 40%, when in the past they were well over 50%. And I can't see the logic behind this. And I'm concerned because it just dilutes our power that we have worked on for so long. And we've been told over and over again, the power is in the vote. And then we see that it's just been bargained away.
Right. And it's very concerning. And also, in the elements of the disparities, we talk about, healthcare, we talk about economic, we talk about education, we talk about these disparities that go on. And now we're talking about the close first cousins of voting rights. And that's talking about the first cousins of Jim Crow laws or poll taxes. And those bills have been dropped again in the state of Michigan to repress the voting power of African American and people of minority heritage. And so, it's very frustrating when we get bogged down by the element of confusion, the element of misinformation, the element of division when we have bigger fights on the front. And so, but we definitely have to be educated in a way that we understand what the process is and how to engage the process. And one of the people and the champions on that level has been talking about literacy in our community, providing a level of education for those that may be challenged becoming literate in our society. And that's Dr. Schroeder. Dr. Schroeder, tell us about your program and how you're working to help and strengthen people in our community as it surrounds the element of literacy.
What I like to say is a basic education will open the doors to better opportunities. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show this morning. We, under our not-for-profit, the Center for Higher Educational Achievement offers an adult literacy program for residents of Flint, Genesee County, and I'm glad to say now entire Michigan. We are struggling with residents who are coming from the zip codes of 48504, 48505, and 48506. We do come to find that lower literacy rates are in those zip codes. One of the challenges residents have is that a lot of them were special ed as a child. Special education normally pushed them through the educational system, and then once they became an adult, those barriers they had as a child did nothing but compound it once they became an adult. Most of the individuals who were in special ed hold jobs that we call today as frontline positions that normally do not pay a livable wage. We at the Center for Higher Educational Achievement start at the kindergarten level and take you all the way up to the 12th grade level, which is for a GED. So we work with those who have not attained their GEDs, and we work with those who have graduated from high school, but they're still struggling below that 4th, 6th grade level in reading and math, which really prohibits them from enrolling into college or either a vocational trade school. Another program that we're doing in order to help residents of Flint and Genesee County is our CHIA Community Resource House. We come to find that a lot of our students do not have proper documentation or transportation when jobs do come available here in Flint or in the surrounding areas. So at the CHIA Community Resource House, one thing that we're able to offer or help residents is obtain their driver's license, their social security card, bus passes to go back and forth to work, and also we can help seniors with their copay with their medication. So education is very important. A lot of individuals feel as though, well, I don't need an education, I'll be okay. But you don't understand, you may be okay as a youth, but as you become older, your body breaks down. You can't continue to do those physical labor jobs. You need to be able to use your mind. You need to be able to have computer skills in order to carry yourself through. And another thing is, we can't always rely that the government is going to take care of us with Social Security. I meet a lot of older individuals who did not graduate from school, and they're still telling me they do not need an education because the government is going to take care of them. They do not understand that they worked under the table as a youth and they did not pay into Social Security. So when you work and you have a job, you're paying towards your retirement. And if you don't have those skills that allow you to have a 401k that allows you to put enough money aside for your retirement, this is why we're finding that our second largest population in the city of Flint that's impoverished are seniors 60 years of age and older. So we work with adults 25 years of age and older in basic reading, basic math, GED prep, and computer skills. Because today seniors need to understand 60 and over, you cannot do anything without a computer. We do have a lot of residents that was against utilizing computers, but once we came into COVID, you cannot do a lot of your day-to-day business transaction without utilizing a computer. So we're very happy that we used to just only assist individuals that was in the zip codes of 48504 and 48505, but now we're able to assist any resident in the city of Flint and also any resident in the state of Michigan.
Can you give them your phone number and how they can contact you if they want to be a part of the program?
Yes, our phone number is 810-265-7766. Again, the number is 810-265-7766.
Yeah, and once again, we want to acknowledge great news in the city of Flint. We're continuing to open our mini stations with the volunteers. If you want to volunteer at one of our mini stations, please contact Captain Taylor at the Flint Police Department. You can call 766-4376, 766-4376. The city of Flint, you can volunteer to be at one of our mini stations. Now on the east side, we have found the site that we're going to be operating a mini station out in that site, and then we're going to be looking at the Boys and Girls Club for another site as well. Now we're going to be having a grand opening of our new revitalized Bishop Avenue ML King mini station. We have revitalized that station. It's wonderful. We are going to be having an opening on Halloween. And that is October 31st. We're going to have trick or treat candy for the kids. And also we're working to get vaccinations there for that day for those that may want to get vaccinated and have not gotten vaccinated yet. And so we want people to come by and see what we're doing and the great works that we're doing and reducing crime in our community. Now, when we look at the overall totals of crime, or the overall totals of crimes are down, but homicides are up, yes. But that is a state of emergency that is in the city of Flint with this gun violence and young people and the retaliatory type of activities. I encourage you to go to the City of Flint website to look at the 7 executive orders in which we put together in order to be able to sustain and reduce the level of massive crime in our community. But we need you on board. Teamwork will make this work. We have to engage the community groups. Many crime watch groups have received the grant to start their crime watch. As you see back over my right shoulder right now, you can see our community crime watch signs. Cameras are up. Our intel center is moving very well. Our police chief, Terrence Green, is doing a fantastic job. And I want to thank you, the public, for engaging in these life-saving measures in our community. It is our home. We have to think positive, speak positive, to be positive, and that's what we're encouraging you to do. Now, we are engaging in some winning battles in our community. We're going to look at the opportunity, and we're going to talk with the community about re-engaging demolition programs and not having other outside governmental units do it for us, because we are not getting to where we need to be with the structural blight in our community if we continue to wait on others to do it for us. So we're making marvelous strides. And remember, we've been doing a great job in less than 2 years that we have been in office through a very trying time, a national pandemic, a water crisis is still ongoing, and also financial crisis. We're right-sized, and we're starting to bring the elements back into City Hall so we can control our day-to-day. When we arrived here, it was a company running our finance department and other elements. We're bringing that back, and now we're building the capacity that we can actually run our government ourselves. That is what it should be. We're talking about 911 services, bringing it back into the city of Flint, because many residents are not satisfied with the level of service that they're getting with the county system right now. But these are the things that we're talking about, going ward to ward throughout the city of Flint, making sure that we hear the residents first. But we will stand stronger. We will stand firm, making sure that we have these economic development tools, these crime suppression tools, to be able to do it ourselves here in the city of Flint. But we need everybody to work together. But first, with the help of Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Furholden, we have saved lives in this community through these hard decisions that we've had to make, saving lives. The water is still on here in the city of Flint. I have not disconnected one user for the lack of payment inside the city of Flint, though we are going for those habitual non-payers, those who have not made arrangements or made a payment on their bill in over a year in a commercial sector. We are retrieving those dollars. We're working to a flat rate system, looking at how to reduce costs on water. Those are the realities, and those are the real things that's going on here in the city of Flint. Our secondary delivery water system is complete and up and operational. Now we can actually go and do some much needed repairs to our primary system. Now, if you look at the news and you see what's happening in Benton Harbor, they have some of the same issues that we've had with lead in the past months here. that is becoming to light. And we're going to keep them in our prayer. We're going to continue to pray for Mayor Muhammad, which visited us here in Flint, to be able to glean some of the best practices to take back to his community. But most recently, they had a water main failure in the city of Benton Harbor, which reduced pressure in their system that caused water loss in the whole city. Those are some of the things that, when you talk about the mandates from the EPA and EGLE, having a primary delivery system and a secondary delivery system, ready to go, is one of the things. So residents won't not lose water. When we came here in November 2019, that project should have been completed by the planning that was put together for the EPA and EGLE, and also funded by them. That project had not even started, but now that massive infrastructure project is completed here in the city of Flint, and we're working to increase the ability for that system to get online if necessary, and also repair and make the upgrades to our primary line. And from the same water source, Lake Huron water, the same water source. And so we have to maintain our focus, because when we sit here in these seats, you have those individuals that sometimes may not provide you all with the good information. We continue to pay for this radio broadcast out of our pockets, but now we're out of time today. But we encourage you to stay tuned. Mom, I love you. We're gonna be feeding you. Stay blessed. And also congratulations to those ecclesiastic organizations that receive keys to the city for the great works. God bless you guys. Back to you, WFLT.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep. Sorry, guys, I got a little long-winded at the end, we're still live on our stream. We want to continue with Dr. Reynolds. Do you want to go ahead and reiterate our plan for our Facebook listeners online here? We're still live there.
And you're speaking of the Halloween plans?
Halloween plans, yes, sir.
Yes. Halloween is coming and everybody wants to have fun. However, we have to think, and as Dr. Furholden always says, you have to have a plan before you act. Mm-hmm. And the main thing is, if we can have activities outdoors so that there's adequate ventilation. If you move indoors, if our children are not vaccinated, they can spread to adults. So that's not an ideal situation. I would recommend if you can't be outdoors, indoor activities only happen with those in your household, just for the protection of the seniors, the adults, and prevent spread by children who may be asymptomatic carriers. Now, as far as masks go, everybody's complaining about, I don't want to wear a mask till Halloween comes. Then they put a mask on. I recommend that children put a mask on, the surgical mask, and keep that on. And perhaps be careful with those other masks, because they actually obscure your vision. And children will be walking and moving around, and that makes them safer. You can paint the mask. You can use a magic marker and put a design on the mask so it can be as scary as you want to be. But those are important things. And then for adults, sometimes when we have so-called holidays, we mix it up with some ignorant oil. And I'm talking about alcohol. And that impairs our judgment. So if you walk into a joint and it's shoulder to shoulder and people aren't wearing masks and you don't know those people, back up, go home, because you don't want to take this stuff to the household. Now, if you feel symptoms, get tested. Testing stations are still open. Get tested. If your child is positive, you should get tested within 3 to 4 days to know your status. And believe me, the people at our testing facilities do not mind if you come back again 5 days later, 1 week later, or every 2 weeks. Right. That is part of the...
Go ahead.
So these are important things. And let's talk about boosters, because now people are maybe confusing boosters for people 12 and up who have been vaccinated with the new vaccine for children. Okay, if you're over 65, if you're 18 plus and you live in a extended care facility or a group living place, like a dorm, like a juvenile facility, you need to get tested. But also if you work in a high risk situation. And we forget that everybody who faces the public on a daily basis is in a high risk situation. Bus drivers, people who serve at counters, grocery store workers. It's not just first responders and it's not just medical people. So it's most important that if you're eligible for a booster, get that booster shot, and they will become more and more available. Right now it's Pfizer, and they've also talked about having Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. But get your booster, and now the advice is don't worry about mixing, having one vaccine series in the beginning and switching to the other vaccine. It's always, it is safe, it is acceptable, and as we used to say, get in where you fit in.
Right. And, you know,
now, let me talk about that.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can I talk about vaccines for children? Because
Yes.
the news will have you believe that it's out there and it's ready. That's not entirely true. The government has positioned vaccine supplies for children in place, but we are waiting for the official approval from the FDA, and then we're waiting, that will be October 26th, and we're waiting for the official approval from the CDC, and that will be November 2nd through 3rd. So we need special syringes, we need special needles, and we need those final approvals. And it's good news that it's coming, but please remember, the boosters are one thing, they're available now. Childhood vaccines will be available in the coming weeks.
Right. You know, we talk about the childhood vaccinations, and we talk about, you know, children being in school and also going out for this holiday. We have to be vigilant as a community. You know, I've said it many times that, you know, we heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to save a village, right? And so we need to make sure we save our village. We need our volunteers to be able to populate our mini stations all across the city of Flint. Our mini stations are going to be up and engaged, you know, through this holiday weekend. Not weekend, I'm sorry, through the Halloween holiday weekend. And so we want to make sure that we get enough volunteers to populate the stations in which we have activated inside the city of Flint. We have a really robust camera system throughout our stations, and also are in many locations to push back the drivers of crime in our community. And so we must do what we need to do, but we definitely need you residents on this stream to be able to volunteer. Let's just not engage with dialogue or preaching on a problem, but we all need to activate on a solution together. We must stay high-minded in the way that we engage one another in a positive way. With that in mind, I want to congratulate those 11 ecclesiastic organizations that received the highest honor award from the city of Flint, the Keys to the City, on this past Thursday. Now, the selection process was going through a nomination process sent to 180 churches, and we asked them for nominations for those places that did a good job throughout our pandemic year, helping us, the village, saving the village. Those that were giving out food, water, vaccinations, testing, and other services, those were the ones that were recognized in the ecclesiastic organization way, absence of denomination, but in a faith-based area. And now, many people were confused about the way this process went forth. It was a nomination process by those individuals of that community. Now, it was for a certain segment of our community. So, you know, if just say, for instance, just with a fictitious name, you know, Mother Teresa, for her advocacy and her work as an individual, she would not qualify in this particular category in which these 11 keys were given out. And so for those that would feel some kind of way or indifferent, please understand what that is. We said it was to the ecclesiastic organizations, and that's the faith-based organizations in that particular category. Now, we often have saluted other individuals. We saluted Mr. Davis, Joe Davis, which was the first African-American firefighter in the city of Flint, long overdue, but we gave him his recognition. We recognize Dr. Nathan Bertley for his advocacy in the element of education throughout our community. Reuben Burtz for his advocacy for people workers and labor movements. We recognize many people for their recognition in the categories in which they fell into. So these 11 ecclesiastic organizations, congratulations from the City of Flint for receiving a award that was earned by your organization, not by one single individual or just one individual's efforts, but we want to recognize them and honor them in the highest way. Now, we are completed with the process of the renaming and reactivation of the way that we celebrate our heroes. We cannot bury our treasures inside the City of Flint. One of the best athletes, if not the best athlete inside the City of Flint, is Clarissa Shields, two-time gold medal winner, Olympic gold medal winner, and also winning many championship belts. She's up fighting this upcoming week. So we want to make sure we lift her up in prayer, encourage her, making sure that we celebrate our champion. The way that we're going to celebrate our champion here in this municipality, we will be renaming the street that she grew up on, Spencer Street, in her honor, that block. Now, it is a ceremonial honoree naming. So the official naming or renaming of the street doesn't change at all. So your mail will still go to Spencer Street. Your passport, your driver's license does not have to be changed. But this is a way that we can honor and uplift our champions. If our children do not have anything to reflect the greatness that may be inside of them, they will also sink to the lowest common denominator, and we cannot have that. If we don't have an element of education, a strong education system for our young people to do, if they do not know, they cannot do, they will be reduced to doing menial jobs for the rest of their lives. And Dr. Verholden, Dr. Reynolds, and Dr. Strozier can speak to the fact that we know that we need a strong education system in our community. And they have other pieces that can help the traditional education system. The CHIA organization, and Dr. Strozier, if you don't mind to give your phone number one more time.
The phone number to our academic programs are 810-265-7766. Again, 810-265-7766.
Right, and that way you can help with your literacy skills, and it's not just for young people, but it's also for adults trying to achieve a literacy level that can advance them. We have the Michigan Reconnect program. Anyone over the age of 25 years of age that wants to return to community college can do so. We have the Flint Promise. We have the library that I established at the Flint Development Center, also building literacy skills for children there. But we definitely have to do it. We have to continue to safeguard our lives. We're not apologetic for the things that we have done here in the City of Flint through the guidance from Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Verholden. We've done some great, magnificent things. We're right-sized our budget. We're engaging in public safety to the point of really having a stabilized public safety entity in our communities, but we need everybody to partner. But we will continue to be positive. We will continue to stay positive. We will continue to pray, plan, and partner in absence of all the things that may be going on, because this thing, and we have been a divided community for so long, and we can look in our community and see the results of that divide. And so here in this administrative office, we will continue to do our very best, and we will continue to celebrate the very best. Absence any other input, we will celebrate the best, the brightest, and the best in our intentions. We will continue to work toward that goal. The civil rights of our community and our country is in jeopardy if we do not do something about the way that the lines are being drawn. We've heard preaching on a problem, but we need to activate on a solution. Activating on a solution begins October 26th, Tuesday, October 26th, at the meeting. You have to register a day before. You can look on our stream and get the information to be able to do so at the Dort Financial Center from 1 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. and also from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. You can be heard on this. Do not let them divide our community to make us a micro majority in the districts that do not matter. And so we have to continue to fight. And sometimes we have to really push back and understand what it is. We have to have a level of uniting our communities. And so with that said, I will give Dr. Verholden back to you, then Dr. Reynolds, and then also Dr. Strozier. Dr. Verholden.
Yeah, I want to just encourage people again. We've got plenty of resources across the city that everybody could benefit from. We've got sites now where you can go get tested and vaccinated. I had encountered a woman last week who was exposed to COVID by her granddaughter. And the granddaughter, asymptomatic, was likely contracted COVID at school and exposed the whole family. And the grandma was so nervous because the whole family was unvaccinated. And she really wanted to get vaccinated, but her physician would not let her get vaccinated because he said, we cannot vaccinate you if you are COVID positive. And Dr. Reynolds mentioned this, and he said, if you have a known exposure, you wait 3 or 4 days and you go get a test. The testing sites will not be mad at you if you go and get a test every day. They will not be mad at you. We want people and we need people to continue to get tested. You can now get tested and vaccinated at the same place. You can get a rapid test. That test will be negative, and you can turn right around to get vaccinated. And that is what this woman did. She waited for 4 days. She, stayed home in quarantine, went out, got her test, it was negative, and then she got vaccinated. So I just want to encourage people, take advantage of these tremendous resources that we have. I think the city and all of the partnerships have really come together to make sure that we have what we need, that it's only as good as people will use it. So I just encourage everybody, take good advantage of these many resources and keep practicing prevention.
And Dr. Reynolds?
Yes, sir.
Well, I was just going to give you an opportunity once again to encourage them with a couple of closing words.
Oh, yes. Get information. Number one is literacy. We must be able to read to understand, but we also need to listen and think critically. And number two, we protect our voting rights and follow this redistricting program carefully because it can dilute the powers that we've accumulated over time. And then we must have health literacy, and we covered those topics: vaccination, testing, and layers of protection. And if you don't know, if you haven't seen it, you can go to the County Health Department website, the State of Michigan website, the CDC website, or ask somebody. But please, let us get the information we need to protect our community and neighboring communities.
Right. Dr. Strozier.
I was watching the news on last week, and I come to find out we have 2 large employers that are coming here to Genesee County. Flint residents, I'm asking you to get ready. Get ready means make sure that you have the basic education that you need. If you already have a high school diploma, are you able to read and comprehend an employment test in order for you to be successful in obtaining that job? If you don't have that high school diploma, get that GED. If people would pay attention to where these larger employers are coming into, they're not coming directly into the city of Flint, which means you need to have transportation in order for you to be able to get back and forth to work. We're able to help you to obtain those bus passes. Hopefully there are buses on that route. They are expanding MTA bus routes. But Flint residents, you need to be prepared. It's nothing like jobs that are coming and you're not qualified for those positions. So at CHIA, the name of the program is CHIA Adult Skills Center. We're here for you. We're rooting for you. We want you to be able to get these new jobs that are coming in. If you feel as though you don't want to get an education to go to college, what's very important is you don't have to always go to college. You can go to vocational trade school. Vocational trade school also requires you to have a high school diploma or a GED because you have to be able to comprehend and understand the content that's being presented before you, but you also have to take a state exam. So an education is very important no matter what you do. Digital literacy, utilizing a computer, you cannot get out of it today. So call us. We're here for you to be able to help you and your move to the next level.
Absolutely. And being on the call with Dr. Furhold and Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Strozier being the only one without a doctorate degree, I just feel a little bit smarter for being here with you all today. But definitely we want to make sure we encourage our residents to be able to be a part of the positive change. And what we want to do is also encourage those to pay attention. We will be back going ward to ward in a couple weeks here with our compliance coordinator that we have contracted. We will not waste the dollars and cents that has been allocated to us, these one-time dollars. I believe water is a human right. We're working to try to reduce the cost of water once we get through all the things that has been wrong with the system for a very, very long time. It's been less than 2 years I've been in the office, and we have made some positive change in spite of all the other hurdles that we have. We are here working in a very, very difficult time in our nation and our city and our state. But definitely I want to encourage those. I want to talk a little bit about the 5 buckets really quickly, the blight bucket, the crime bucket, the economic development bucket. And also we want to make sure we can empower people how to be able to live in their homes. One of the things that we found out through our research is that sometimes homeowners have a problem finding home insurance for their home that they can afford inside the city of Flint in these areas that they have deemed to be, against a census tract or however they find it. But we were looking at ways that we can help people find baseline insurance so they can have the homeowners insurance so they can qualify for other activities. Now, if you don't hear from me, if you don't hear from this direct communication on this show, some can watch it live, some can stream it later, but don't take it, take the information that we provide here. This is good, earnest, honest information, transparent. We're talking about the real things. Do not let the illusions of confusion capture you. So we're going to maintain our positive. The buckets of blight, we're going to be looking at maintaining and returning the level of demolition back inside the city of Flint. Here, we're looking at that as well. We have cleaned up 4 million pounds of additional trash throughout our communities with our blight operators and also with our blight assist teams that we contracted with. Our new waste collectors priority waste is now finishing out and rounding out their second week in our community. They are learning the routes. They're doing a great job, but they will continue to be engaged. Contact them there, and they will be on the show with us next week on our radio broadcast as well as our StreamYard broadcast. And so with that, all this positive movement can only move together if we all stand in line of our thinking. All right, God bless, and we're going to go ahead and close out. Till next week, be safe, pray for one another. God bless. Thank you, guys.